Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you're listening to Live from the Past. You're coming from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper on a special March 11th edition.
You know, I don't listen to news very often, but when I do, they name geographical areas that I don't know where they're at, and I just let it go.
Like Jakarta.
Yeah, I don't know where that is. The Arabian Peninsula, I have no idea where that is. The Baltic Sea, unknown to me.
There's an Arabian Peninsula?
Apparently. I heard it on the news.
Okay.
You know what you could do in that situation?
Tell me.
You could just Google that.
Here's the thing.
Don't trust Google.
I like to live...
On a map? I think you can.
I like to live old school. And so if I don't know it already, I just don't need to know it. I can't Google it. That's cheating.
You do not need any more information in this lifetime?
If
That
it
is
is
a
not
sad way to
around me or I can't ask somebody about it directly, then I just forget about it and let it pass.
I like to live old school.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get dysentery.
Other people are on the Google and keep me out of the dysentery harm.
Wait, how old school are we talking? Are we talking you fix illnesses with leeches?
Yeah, before Google. When did the Google come out? 85?
1950.
1990?
The fact that you call it the Google.
I think Google was the 90s.
Yeah. Okay, here's what we got going on the show this evening. First of all, I'm very disappointed in you. I want to make this very clear. I'm super disappointed in you, and if you think to yourself, he can't be talking about me, I am. Because we set out a very clear call for better celebrity stories than William Shatner on a bike with Dan's brother. And I didn't see anything. Now, either you don't have any better stories, or you got caught up in your day-to-day life. You were, trying to be a good spouse or good parent. You were trying to be diligent at work, trying to keep up with your on and off again exercise program, trying to say yes to the almond butter, no to straight up drinking olive oil at the Starbucks. And those all seem like great things. I hear you in your mind. They seem very practical and good. But just know, I'm very disappointed that I didn't see any better celebrity stories than Billy Shatner on a bike.
I wasn't here last week, but I did listen to that show, and I used the Kaibo after Buddy Guy one time. So that was...
Buddy Guy, the blues guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone else, while you were stepping out, someone else was stepping in. And it was Buddy Guy to Kaibo.
You have to know Buddy Guy's music to understand why that's funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I had a high school history teacher that was a bellhop and helped James Earl Jones carry his bags to his room one time.
Who's James Earl?
Oh.
The voice of Darth Vader.
Okay.
Old voice of Darth Vader.
I did have a run-in with Newt Gingrich.
When did you see Newt Gingrich?
I was out of town working in Fort Dodge at this low-rent hotel. And I got up early because I had to go out to work. It was like 7:15 or something. And Newt Gingrich's campaign at the time had rented out the conference room in this hotel. And so I walked past the double doors that were open, and Gingrich was up there blabbering away.
Gingrichin'.
And he made eye contact with me, and I gave him the thumbs down and cut a trail.
You did not give him a thumbs down.
I definitely did that. That was a for sure thing that happened. And it was awesome. And I didn't stick around for his reaction. I gave him a quick boo, and then I hauled out. I don't even know what he was saying. I could have agreed with what he was saying. I don't have no idea. As soon as he caught my eye line, I gave him the thumbs down and jet.
I regret. So when I was working downtown, I don't know. This had to have been in I don't know, late 2000s or maybe early 2010s. Obama was campaigning.
Yeah.
And they had set up something in downtown Des Moines, and I was out walking on my lunch hour, and you could hear him talking. And must have been his re-election and I thought I feel like I wanted to see it. Like I've not gone to any type of event like that, and I thought it would be super cool. And then I can't remember why I gave up on it. I don't know. Maybe there was some sort of thing at work that felt like it was important, but I don't know. But I did. I heard his voice. I heard the voice.
You heard the voice.
That was your closest
president.
celebrity story? He was within half mile, and then you thought, I'm not going to go?
The voice of Obama.
Okay, wait. I saw Ron DeSantis' truck thingy in a parking lot.
Who's
I think that's
At the
You think Ron DeSantis is driving his own truck?
These stories are going
he was
great.
probably there.
Okay.
Who is Ron DeSantis?
Okay.
Someone
Here's
who's running
so
for president.
this. You did this to yourselves, though.
I've been in the same state as John Wayne.
I've been in the same state as John Wayne's bones.
Gross.
Okay, so anyway, I blame you because this is what we have to offer to the world for these celebrity stories, and it's a new format for the show. We're into gossip. No slander.
Tell us about a time.
Are we drinking tea?
so we can spill it.
Is this tea time?
No, I'm on the decaf. It's a promise. Anyway, so hit us up on the Live from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085. And I remember the feedback from some of you, and you said, hey, this opening of the show takes too long. We want to hear the meat. We dial into this show for meat. And I say, sir, you're mistaken. Or,
There's no
madam,
meat.
I don't know what you were thinking. You've listened to the program.
Skin and bone.
However, if you want this celebrity thing to stop, I need at least one better story than Billy Shatner on a bike. That's the key. Otherwise, here's what we got going on the show this week. We are playing America's third favorite and fastest growing internet game show, Is This Love?
Oh, boy.
Mike, what's the premise?
Is this love? Basically, we set you up with a scenario, and then you have to decide by the way that it was described, is this love? Are they doing good, loving things? Is this love, or is it not love? Wait, was that what the opposite was?
I thought it was, is this love or is this like just fake?
No.
Like romantic or not?
Is it? I think it's not love.
Yeah, I think it's not love.
Love, not love. It's a binary.
Yeah, those are the options.
Yeah.
Is this love?
Love or hate.
And so, if you remember, this game show originated when Crystal Joy was here, and she
like 8
writes
years ago.
She writes is it wrong to call them romance novels?
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes it sound tawdry.
Rom-coms.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Wholesome.
Hey,
wholesome
we met Crystal
relationship
Joy. Does
novels.
that count, celebrity? We talked to John Acuff once.
Hey, I just listened to a John Acuff book last week. It was great.
Oh
We
yeah.
went to a Rent
Hey.
Collective concert.
Listen to it.
They're basically celebrities.
So we had John Acuff on the show one time.
Yeah.
And the interview didn't go great. I think I was running my mouth or something. I said offensive things.
Sounds about right.
And then I followed up with him and said, "Hey man, do you want to come on the show again?" And he politely declined. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
He did it in a real classy way.
Yeah. And I think we just concluded that he was discerning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was smart of him.
He's the kind of fellow that would do that.
Yeah.
He's got better things to do.
We gotta move on.
So we're gonna play Is This Love? Also, I think this was probably on your mind, and so we wanted to cover it in the show. These were 7 things, church activities that we should stop. It's time for the church to move forward.
Do you think potlucks is going to be on that list?
Interesting. I guess we'll see.
I hope not.
We'll see what it's going to be.
I love potlucks.
Okay, and then we have a follow up
with the
discussion. I want to talk about how can your soul be well, right? How can you sing "It Is Well" when I think there's a deep question when it comes to, is God faithful in His promises? Yes, the answer is yes. Is God faithful to do all these things? Yes. Is He strong enough, graceful enough, full of mercy enough? Yes. They're all yeses. But then there's people on the other side of the equation. And so, I want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah. That kind of gets at one of the deep quandaries, which is what is a human's relationship to the faithfulness of God?
Yes.
Can they to what part do you play on the great stage? That's
Yeah.
what Buva was wondering.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, Mike, what part do you play on the great stage?
Great stage.
And do you enter stage left or stage right?
I hope I'm
On to the great stage.
I hope I'm third banjo man.
Did you get a call to the casting call of the great stage of life? It's just things I ponder on a daily basis.
He's the knees a la bees.
That's what they mean. That's what they mean when the roll is called up yonder. Like it's not ROLL, it's ROLE.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay. All right. Anyway, that's
Hit the bricks, banjo man.
Hey, real quick before we get started.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to a fella named Jeff.
okay.
Okay?
Is that a pseudonym for Ben?
It's not. I would never thank a man named Ben.
Okay, go ahead.
So I apparently when I got home the other night from hanging out with some friends, when I got out of my car, my wallet fell out of my pocket.
That was embarrassing.
Oh, it's terribly embarrassing. I could barely show my face afterwards.
Were you slinging your pants too low?
Yeah, I was. They were like at my knees. It was crazy. You know,
That's too far.
Nobody wants that. Agreed. No. So wallet fell out of my pocket, and I did not realize it. So I go inside, and like it's a couple hours later. I've gone to sleep and woken up already, and I see a Facebook message from a fella named Jeff that says, "Hey man, I found your wallet, and then I found you on Facebook. Let me know when you wake up, and I'll get it to you."
Oh, nice.
And I was like, "What? That's awesome, man.
That's
That's
a
really
boss
cool."
fella.
This guy found me on Facebook from my ID. Turns out he's in the building next to mine. But apparently, right after that, I turned on my active status on Facebook Messenger, saw that he had been active for inactive for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I messaged him, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm up now. Where are you at?" And he doesn't respond to me for 11 and a half hours. And he woke up at around noon and said, "Hey, man, sorry, I fell asleep right after I texted you."
For
And I'm
11?
like, yeah, for 11 and a half hours.
Okay,
I'm like,
nice.
That's all right. Where are you at? He goes, I was like, "I'm building 6. He goes, "Well, I'm in 8. I'm like, "Fantastic." And those are right next to each other. So like he goes, "Meet you at the tennis courts," which sounded like a real drug deal of a situation, if I'm being honest about it. I've never had a "meet you at the tennis courts" text on my phone before.
Yeah.
And I never wanted one, but now I had one. And so I met him at the tennis courts, and he gave me his wallet, and he goes, "Hey man, it happens to all of us. It happens to me all the time." And immediately I thought, that's a rough life if you
All
lose
the
your
time.
wallet all the time.
How
but
many
like
holes
regardless,
does he have in his pockets?
a lot of them apparently. He wears his pants at his knees.
Yeah.
They call
But
it a
no,
water.
like I was really surprised that like just to me, it was super cool that the guy like found me on Facebook and messaged me and made certain I got my wallet back, and
Yeah.
he was super cool about it. Walked out of his apartment building and walked up to me and said, "Hey man, here you go, thanks." Or I said, "Thank you so much, I really appreciate it." He goes, "No problem, happens all the time." And he walked back in. I was like, wow, well that was a really cool interaction, and I certainly appreciate it. Jeff, if you ever listen to the show, thank you very much for finding my wallet and getting back to me so quickly, man. I just thought that was such a cool thing that like dude could have taken it, could have charged a card and done all kinds of stuff, or just never said anything to me.
Yeah.
But he just wanted to make sure I got my wallet back.
Way to be awesome, Jeff.
Yeah, nice job, Jeff. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Did he try to Pete Sampras you?
I don't know what that means.
Pete Sampras, while you were on the tennis courts.
No clue who that is.
Mike.
Yeah, I know who it is. It's odd that you'd bring it up in this room, Ben.
Okay, my mistake.
It's like bringing up Shaquille O'Neal at a church.
Ain't nobody talked about him in years.
Okay.
Whatever.
Let's talk about these church activities that are supposed to stop.
All right.
Okay,
Like
wait,
$5. One of them's not potluck.
Okay, you think
Yeah, I'm betting against myself from earlier.
okay, so you think it will be absent of potluck.
Yes.
Okay.
And Mike owes me $5 if it's not on there.
I'm pulling for pamphlets.
You think pamphlets?
You think
need to go?
pamphlets will not be on there?
I know, I'm hoping for pamphlets will be on there.
What do you guys think? Car wash might be on there? Like, do
Car
you guys ever
wash?
do church car washes?
No.
What about
Whatever.
nativity?
All right, fine. Let's see what's on this
It
list.
invites
Oh,
the wrong-
Ella thinks nativities are
Yeah.
going to be asked to be out.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Man,
Okay.
I stole the baby Jesus from a nativity one time.
And that's why they're taking it out.
Because of hooligans.
That's fair.
It encourages
20 years ago, they're like, we lost our baby Jesus.
Was it? It could have been on a news story. Guy steals baby Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a
He had
picture
his
of me
pants at
walking
his
like
knees.
Bigfoot with it.
He was
With
trying
his
to make
pants
water
down to
away.
his knees. That was
He
a
is
rough
now
image.
known as the Nubby.
All right, Ben, let's see it.
It encourages brigandry. We are no longer doing the nativities. All right. One of the best parts of going to church is that it has events where people can meet with like-minded group of people. I often think of church as a mixer. That's one of the best things.
Wait, you guys believe the same thing I do?
I can't believe it.
No way.
Some of
How
these
serendipitous.
some of these events help us grow in our faith. Some allow us to serve our neighbors. Some help our children learn, and some give us food and fellowship we can savor.
Potluck.
That's a delicious sentence. But we often think, man, this is way outdated! Exclamation point. As we participate in church activities, whether in the service or during the week, it's time to take a stand.
This journalism is incredible.
Let's get rid of the events holding our church back from growing. Let's find the thriving events and add fuel to the proverbial fire. This feels like it was written by the AI. Let's get rid of the old, bring in the new. Oh, man. And start today. Here are some
done with
church
Easter.
activities that we need to consider dumping now. 1, events that are grandfathered in. I mean, that's not a specific event. Who does that? Who
Wait,
goes
what
like,
do you mean grandfathered
Okay,
in?
so-
As in like old homeless Joe over there says we should throw this in. What do you mean grandfather?
yeah, so they mean things that like you wouldn't do it you wouldn't start it up right now, but because you've been doing it a long time, you're going to keep doing it.
So
Like-
tradition.
You could have said tradition.
Yeah.
Grandfather
like
in.
Christmas.
Old
or
homeless
Might as well
Joe
take
over there
Christmas
is
away.
ringing
We've
his
got
ass.
our annual Sadie Hawkins dance we've been doing since 1927.
Okay. Are you still doing a Christmas luncheon? just because Betsy Ross was the committee chair of the inaugural event.
What?
Even though the pastor's wife is the only person to attend.
Is it Betsy
No.
Ross is in the one who like stitched together the American flag?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
the
okay.
one.
Huh.
So many churches cling to declining and already dead activities. Why? Because it's always been something we do. Now, hold on a minute. I would propose that if you put on an event and nobody comes, it's not killing your church. It's just disappointing the guy who set the event up.
Right.
Like, do you think people like go to church and go because the church has an event that they would not attend, that they are mad at the church?
Right. Chuck and Gladys have just been doing this since the 50s.
Yeah.
They're the only ones disappointed, but they're the ones who keep perpetually disappointing themselves by continuing to do the luncheon.
Yeah, I don't know that this is a significant different. I mean, I suppose it depends how much you bang the gong on it. Like if you try to coerce people into going.
I can't even think of an event that falls underneath it. I've never been to a church that does a Christmas luncheon.
No, no one's showing up to that kind
We
of
grew
thing.
up old school Baptist church. We've
that
gone
still
to
didn't have Christmas luncheons.
like non-denominational churches, right? Like it's not like we haven't been to a variety of churches, and I've never been to one that's trying to hold up a Christmas lunch.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we have a
Yeah.
Christmas lunch?
Apparently, nobody likes it.
It hasn't
well,
been
yeah,
grandfathered
I
in.
like it.
Here's the.
Old homeless Joe.
I think one of the benefits of not doing a bunch of these church activities. Actually, I was having a conversation with a guy early in the week, and we talked about like if you go to the average Christian and ask, "Hey, in what ways are you serving within your church?" 80-90% of the things that they're going to say are within the church building.
Uh-huh.
Right, and so
Right.
like it's very insular.
Yep.
And I think that's to the detriment of us of the gospel moving out.
Right.
And because we go, oh, I really need to start serving at church, and so you're going to go rearrange the chairs, you're going to vacuum. Like these aren't inherently bad things, but like if you have a significant imbalance of how much when we think about serving happens within the confines of our own place, that's problematic.
Yep.
Okay, why do we struggle with that though? Like, do we struggle with it because we're counting on the church infrastructure to set us up with places to serve?
Yes. I do think it has been I wish Dan was here because I think he provides a better an interesting perspective on this
Right.
given from his church planning background. But like one of the things that I think our church infrastructure does is because it tends to be centered on a person, a pastor, a series of events and things that drive you into a common path.
Mm-hmm.
You risk one, replacing the Holy Spirit with a process, and two, I think it builds into people the feeling that you need to wait for someone to tell you what to go do. Like
Right.
Christians in general were entrepreneurial types. Like there are people who just see needs and fill them and go about and do things. And I think our structure in some of our modern church infrastructure doesn't prohibit that, but it does not encourage it either. And so, yeah, I do think oftentimes people, as opposed to seeing the work of the church external, they're like, well, we just want you to get you plugged in. Like first, let's make them a member of the church and plugged into the infrastructure, and then we push out. Like the first, which I'd rather start the opposite and maybe the never. You don't even have to come back here during the week. Go live in your neighborhood and do the stuff in your neighborhood. But yeah, I do think there is something about the infrastructure that doesn't encourage insularity, but doesn't discourage it either.
Yeah. You signed our membership. You took our class. Now you can be a greeter. Good job.
Yeah, and I mean, like again, when we're trying to get people plugged in, you make relationship connections.
Right.
They're more likely to stay at your church. But again, that's measuring the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like, do I measure the success of our particular community by how many people came in the door and are still here 6 months from now? I don't know what kind of. That's more of an earthly measure. That's not much of a long-term kingdom measure. And so, anyway, I think that's one of the risks. All right, when we refuse to cut back withering events, we're taking time and resources away from thriving activities. Apparently, it sounds like just the pastor's wife. So,
Yeah.
again, we may have overbaked on that one. Number 2, offering prayer at the front of the sanctuary. Have you guys ever gone up to pray at the front of the sanctuary?
When I was
No,
a
but I've
kid.
heard stories.
What kind of stories?
Like at Ignite, they told how people did that.
Oh, like a youth conference.
Like the
Yeah.
altar call.
Kind of freaks me out. I don't like
How
it.
do you? Wait, what do you mean?
I've gone to multiple altar calls at multiple children's events and youth group events.
Okay.
Every time I was like, I think I need to be baptized again.
I got an idea.
Like, is anyone feeling particularly bad about themselves and wants to tell Jesus? I do. And I'd walk up there, little boova. And I'd go up and I'd say, it's the same stuff over and over again. They'd be like, let me pray that away, brother. And then I'd walk away and I'd go back to my friends and they'd all be clapping and like hugging me and stuff and going, you're a new man. I'm like, I'm 13.
And I got plans to ruin it more.
The second we get home, I'm going to screw this up again.
Do we hold this event every year? Because I may need the refresh.
Yeah, as an adult, though, I've never gone, hey, man, I'm going to go up front.
So, ladies, neither one of you gals have rolled up front?
Nope.
I don't know what pray in front of the sanctuary means.
It means that, like, so, hey, they're going to offer a time within, like, a church service and say, hey, let's come up for prayer. And people who feel like they need a particular prayer come up to the front of the church so that people can, like, pray with them.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay.
I've seen people do it.
I go to this youth group.
Yeah.
And, like, they will have a time where they will, like, have the leaders of, like, the small groups anyway, but they will have, like, adults that you can go over and pray with.
Okay. Well, and I think that's okay. I think it's okay to let people know that there's folks that can pray with you. The question is, like, is there something particularly weird, awkward, or ineffective about saying, come to the front of this gathering?
I don't think it's ineffective, but I personally just don't like it because then I feel like once you get up there, you're supposed to be focusing on, like, praying and whatever, but then, like, it just is awkward. Then you can't really focus on what's important.
But then again, I feel like you're the one who's making this awkward. Maybe nobody else is thinking, wow, this is awkward except for you.
Oh, here's...
So probably.
Yeah, here's what I would say, is that, like, it depends... If the concept is everyone gets to see who went up so they could be praying for them, that sounds like a little bit too... like, not everybody needs to know all the things.
Yeah.
And, like, especially for churches, not like small community churches, but you're talking about larger organizations, like... At some point, this is just eye gossip. Like, you don't really know this person.
Right.
You might be curious now, oh, something's going on with Margaret. But, like, you don't really know what it is, and hopefully nobody tells you. And so, I'm not sure...
I think it's a lot like in a trusted community of people, right? Like, I find it very effective, honestly. Right? Like, when you get past yourself, one, you're in a position to walk humbly with Jesus. Right? Like if the fact that people are going to see you walking up there would dissuade you, or like you're going to be embarrassed by it, you're like, I don't want people to see me going up there. I don't want them to think that I'm broken or that I got this going on. Right? When that becomes a secondary thought to you, or even better, a tertiary thought, that you're like, whatever, I'm just going to go up front. And just like Ben talks about this a lot, like your spiritual things and your bodily things are connected, right? And so there is something. Like even if in your head you see like the front of the church where most people aren't allowed. This is hard for this group because everybody plays in a band or everyone preaches or, everyone's up on the stage using it. Like most people are not, right? And so like the stage of the church is something, that they hold in like at least some kind of esteem. So like rolling up there and it being a more sacred space for you, and then also not caring about what anyone else thinks about you on your way up, right? Like, there's something very freeing about it, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that there's a value in not caring. I think it does depend. The first thing you said was if you're in like a close, trusted community.
Yeah.
And I think there are the bigger the organization, the more that's not really the case.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you would handle it differently.
I've seen them do this at a couple of churches, and to be honest with you, like I really enjoyed it. Like the worship band is still playing. Like I enjoyed it. Like I'm like, entertain me, fellow broken people. But like people are going up and getting prayed for, and like. There's people bopping out of the crowd, right? Like there's one guy praying over a guy, and then all of a sudden two more people get out of the seats and they go pray with that guy, hands on him, So like it just seems like it turns into like this community prayer of like this guy or this gal is like, hey, I need prayer, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, I'm in for this specific thing, not general things. We're praying for you and your stuff, and we're bringing them to the Father as a family.
Yep.
And like I find it effective if it's being done genuinely.
Okay. So maybe.
Wait, so they wanted to take that off?
Yeah, they said, while wrapping up the service, your pastor motions for the prayer team to come forward as he informs the congregation that these people standing in front of the entire church are willing to pray with anyone.
Oh.
See how this might deter someone? It requires a person to build up the courage to walk up to the front of the church where everyone can see.
Although sometimes I feel like that's probably
Okay.
necessary to get over that fear.
Yeah, so I think from my perspective, I would say you don't need to build up courage. You need to submit to surrender. And
Yeah.
not- you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That makes sense. And so maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. Like we're trying to protect some level of embarrassment, but like if you're in a trusted community, this is the safest place to be. Is out in the open with these people praying about these things.
I
Yeah.
think Mike's right though. Like it feels so different if it's with like a small, close knit community than like a huge church. That's
Yeah.
like
I think I can see both sides of the problem. Because on one hand, you might be paranoid. And you might be like, oh, people are going to judge me if they think that I have a bunch of crap going on.
Yep.
But that's why you kind of need to go up there. kinda
Also,
get it out
that's
your
right.
chest.
For the same reason, you probably need to go up there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think if it's, I would have a harder time in a smaller community. This is the opposite side though. Is like in a big church, nobody knows me, and so like I'm just another list, But if I go walking up there, like how am I supposed to, like Layla's gonna be like, there's something wrong with my person, and they got some brokenness in them, and I wonder what's going on with them, and your mind kind of starts walking away from you.
Yeah.
I still think it's a good practice. I think it depends on where you come from or how you do it.
Okay. All right, let's check the next one. We'll see what we think about this one. Number 2, this is number 3. Having parents stand up on Mother's Day or Father's Day.
What?
stand
That-
up.
that's a thing?
As like an appreciation.
Yeah, so like it's incredibly kind for your church to want to acknowledge parents on Mother's or Father's Day. We can all admit our awe towards all that parents do. Unfortunately, there's so many couples who struggle with infertility. Some couples have lost a child. Some single parents have limited or no custody of their children. These are all pains that can run deep. So while some parents stand up to receive applause from the congregation, others sitting next to them might be choking back tears.
I don't think that's wrong. That's appreciation. I mean, like, if you don't want them to show it, then don't go.
I think. Okay.
That's cold,
I can
Layla.
kinda-
Sorry.
It's a cold take.
I can kind of see how they wouldn't like it. Because what if you came from, like, a really troubled family? What if, like, your mom was never as nice to you as Patrick's mom over there? What if...
I mean, with that thought, though, we can never celebrate anybody.
Right.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
that's fair.
somebody's always had it rough, and somebody has not. You know what I'm saying? And so, once it's for the same reason that the sanctuary thing, it shouldn't be a problem. This also should not be a problem. I think we can acknowledge that, like, yes, there are hurts, right? Like, we just celebrating Father's Day, and let's say your dad just passed away a week ago. Is that sad? Yes. Is it going to bring back pain? Yes. And, like, all those things are true. But, like, not every situation has to be run through you, right? Like, if you look at the world and go, everybody should care how I feel about this all the time, it means that, like, you basically, your worldview is centered on you, right? Like, can I celebrate the accomplishments of somebody's children even if my children have done terrible things, right? Can I still celebrate theirs? Yes.
Yeah.
Can I celebrate that somebody's mom and dad were a great mom and dad, even if my mom and dad may not have been the best? Do I look at other people's the good in their lives and go, well, their good is less good because mine was bad?
See, that almost, maybe this is not the right word, but it almost feels a little prideful, almost even.
To not do it because...
because like Mike said, like, you don't want to, whatever Mike just said, that was,
Yeah.
I feel like, really true. Because
Because what we want is like we can acknowledge that like these things would probably hurt, but what God is offering is freedom from some of that, right? To have to hold all your own stuff all the time and then color everybody else's stuff with it and do this big comparison thing where like they got more money than me, they got better parents than me, they got a better house than me, they got a whatever, right? Like God's trying to break us free of all that stuff, and by allowing it to color your decision on whether we celebrate somebody or don't celebrate somebody, I think we're focusing on the wrong thing. What we should be focusing on is like, can we celebrate with people who are celebrating? Right? God says like we weep with those who are weeping.
Yeah.
Right? We celebrate with those who are celebrating, and nowhere in that equation do you get to bring your own stuff in there and then try to color other people's. That doesn't sound like freedom to me. That sounds like chains. And it does sound slightly insensitive, and I do understand that, but like some freedom's kind of insensitive that way. It goes, I don't care what you're being chained by, you need to let it go. The whole point is to not be chained to anything.
Yeah. So I think it is totally appropriate to be aware that different things hit people differently. For sure, and like being aware of that, and the closer you are to a person who's in a situation, you will know that when they do the "Hey, Happy Mother's Day, everyone," and someone has recently lost their mother, or whatever, may have a different relationship with one of their children or something like that, you know enough to go comfort that person that this may hit them differently. But you don't have to change the macro thing. I think this goes back to some of the things I think, Mike, you were talking about, even was we were talking about some of the COVID stuff, that like there's a question of how much of the world do I expect to bend to my personal situation versus how much do I have to recognize that my personal situation is personal to me. And would I really want to? Because, like, think of it from this direction. We don't do this because it makes people who are in rough situations sound insensitive. But, like, and if you had 100 people in the church and one person recently lost their mother or something, or didn't have a good relationship with their mom, do you not allow to celebrate the other 50 moms in the room for that day because your situation wasn't ideal or is in a rough circumstance?
Okay, I can kind of see it from that point of view now.
Okay, so like, so now, but again, is the person who's in a rough circumstance, the people who are close to them, will recognize that this may hit them differently. There's some people where, like, one of the things I do anytime I've done a funeral, or even just had someone who's someone close to them has died, I generally I'll add their date of death into my calendar. And I'll just set it as an annual, like an anniversary thing. Not because we're going to celebrate the death, but it provides me context in if I'm going to, maybe I interact with them. Or maybe I just, sometimes I'll just follow up and say, hey, it's been a year since so-and-so passed. And just, praying for you today and, memories that come with it. And may you find joy in them. Like whatever, there's some encouragement. But because contextually, something that used to be, could otherwise be a great day, now has some sort of something related to it. And so you should be cautious of that. But like, it's a whole different thing to say the rest of the world, I want it to take away from other people because it may impact me negatively. There is a selflessness to having to think of it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. The solution, they said, is skip the mother or father-based sermon and congregation recognition. If you still want to honor parents, have children make a crafty gift in children's ministry to give their parents at home.
Yeah, I don't know that you're doing people any favors by reinforcing the idea that the thing that is happening in your life should take away celebrations in others.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like that might feel the people that like can't celebrate that kind of feel worse. Because then they think it's like a secret, like a...
Yeah.
I don't know. Feels a little worse to me, personally, but...
Yeah. I think be sensitive, but carry on.
Yeah.
All right, the next one was fill-in-the-blank Bible studies.
I love those.
Oh, they're coming for him, Layla.
I don't care.
Oh, dear.
Studying the Bible with a group of people is a great way to strengthen your community and expand your knowledge of God, but there's a considerable difference between strengthening your knowledge and relationship. When we consider our relationship with God, we want to create a friendship more than a fandom. So how do we fix this? Do away with the fill-in-the-blank exclusive Bible studies. Start pursuing both the head and the heart aspects of having a relationship with God.
Yeah, that's not helpful, what you just said, right? Like, I walk up to somebody that is trying, like they trying to figure out what their relationship with God looks like, and I say, you know what you should do? You should pursue the head and the heart relationship. And they're like, how do I do that? I'm like, not fill-in-the-blank Bible studies. Good luck. You're on your own now. That seems wildly arrogant, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I get maybe the caution of you don't want to make someone's our understanding of God is merely a series of facts, but like part of the teaching of studying your Bible is actually getting to that very point. Is like, hey, these aren't all just facts. There are relationships. Like, heck, you're fill in the blank. Maybe this is more than a knowledge thing. This is relationship. But like, as a way of which people otherwise retain things that they've learned, remind them to pray on things they can look back and reference. I don't
Exactly.
know.
I think it's almost like memorizing a verse. Like in the Bible study I'm doing, we do that a lot. Like it'll give you most of the verse, and then you have to fill in the parts, like look up the verse and fill in the parts. And personally, that helps me like focus on what I'm doing, because if I'm just reading it, I'll forget it within the next like 10 seconds.
I was kind of thinking along those lines, actually. I was just kind of thinking about remembering, like, what if someone remembers something in like a really strange way, but it's how they help remember it. Like someone could help like remember a Bible verse, like Layla was saying, by maybe filling in the blank, and they'll be like blank, blank, blank. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, and think how practical it is too, right? So sometimes when I'm in the real straits and I can't seem to get myself centered on things, I remember that God will lead me beside still waters. Right. Exactly. Is that a bad fill in the blank? No, because I'm 40 years old and I'm still using that when I pray. I still pray, Father, will you lead me beside still waters? Will you take me to green pastures? Right? Will you restore my soul? Right? So like, is it a bad thing that I memorize that verse by some kind of fill in the blank, whatever? I still use that to both further my head and my heart relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, see, kind of what I was talking about like that, because how I remember that is because of the "Come What May" song. How it says that in every high and every low.
Oh yeah.
He takes me percent. Yeah, whatever. He says that verse in there, so that's how I always remember it. So it can just can help cope with remembering something.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, if you're trying to get at, hey, we want to make sure it's just not academic knowledge transfer, that's fine. But this is just a medium of which people remember things. And so, it seems weird to go after it directly.
Yeah.
Next, gathering for singles filled with non-singles. What the heck kind of problems are these?
Huh? Is this a dating church?
Yes, so it says, well, I mean, oftentimes churches will put together, ministries for people in specific life situations.
That doesn't seem bad.
Yeah, maybe not. I'm always cautious here. I was an executive pastor at a church, and this is the type of thing executive pastors do is kind of put together events, and I'm terrible. I'm traditionally bad at it. But I always thought that I don't know, are we in the matchmaking business? Are we in the fraternization business? It felt like a weird. It was weird for me. Maybe it works for other people, but it says it's great that your church has a ministry intended for singles to get together with other people in the same stage of life. It's not so great when the singles group at a church has become filled with married people. Why? I don't understand this particular problem.
Why would you have a singles group if you had married people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
We're gonna skip this because
Married couples are great.
I'm not sure why this is happening.
Okay, because that makes me really confused.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't even understand that question.
Why would a church even have a singles group night?
Well, let's say you had a church with quite a few people in it, and people who are single are looking for other people who love and serve Jesus. And what better way to find them than to have some sort of event where all the singles come together?
But
it's like having a friend group, like a children's group, because you find friends. You know?
But the thing is, the church is not a dating app. The church is not somewhere you try to meet people. It's not. It's not what the church is used for. The church is used for learning about God.
Well, you look at it as a community. Take the word church out and put it as community. Can your community of people who love Jesus, is that a good place to try to find a future wife or husband if you love Jesus? The answer is yeah. That's where they're at.
Yeah.
All people that love Jesus are in a community of people that love Jesus, and so is it wrong to say, hey, let's just look around and see if there's anybody here?
Yeah, well, there's nothing better than cute Christian fellas.
That's right.
It can be done super cheesily, and it can be done in a not helpful way. Some of that stuff I feel like is better if it's a little bit more organic, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's how I would generally think about it. Is that don't rely on the church, because then you got people whose job it is to put together this Christian mingle, but do what you would always do, which is your friend who's got a friend and says, hey, I know of this person, and maybe you should go have coffee or tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, outreach that doesn't serve your community. We're talking about church activities that we should stop. This one is outreach that doesn't serve your community. Outreach is a critical part of the church, but do you know what else is vital? Understanding the community you're serving. All the churches in our community are the body of Christ. Not every church can be an arm, and not every church can be a leg. So take an inventory of the needs of your community. Pray about where God would like you to serve, and see who in your church can help. I don't understand how the title of it matched with the description of it.
Yeah, I'm confused. We're against this?
Well, they're proposing that there's a situation of which you go out and do outreach, but doesn't actually maybe they're saying you offer you do give away free shoes or something, but you're traditionally a more wealthy neighborhood and no one needs the shoes.
I think what they're driving at is, let's say that the Lutheran Church is already running a food pantry, and your church just fired up a food pantry just so you can say you have one. Right?
Yeah.
It's for looks.
That's right. That's not serving your community well. You should probably just give your food to the Lutheran Church and let them distribute it. Right? That makes more sense.
Yeah, that seems wrong.
I thought what you were saying was you shouldn't be churches shouldn't be helping other people outside their community, and I thought that was really selfish.
I think what they're trying to get at is like, will you make sure you're actually helping? You know what I'm saying? Like, your focus is on helping the community, not growing your church, not making, not helping you to feel good about yourself, right? Like, make sure your helping is actually doing what you're intending it to do. It's actually helping people.
Yeah.
I feel like
So
that's
it
the
was-
best
it
one
was-
there's been yet.
Yeah. So it was the opposite of what I was thinking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I took it the wrong way.
Okay. All right, and finally, boy, these are interesting critiques. Mom events that are only held during the day. Motherhood is hard. So what better for your church to offer than a support group of like-minded women who are also trying their best to navigate the challenges of being mothers? But the problem is that working moms are often excluded from these groups. A weekday morning might work best for most moms participating, but your church needs to find a way to meet the working moms where they are. You could offer 2 different gathering times, one which includes after work hours. Additionally, you could consider doing something for moms once a month with childcare provided. We need to support each other as we raise God-seeking families. Okay, let me take this one to start. So this is kind of like the previous one. If you just told me that most of the moms can, like, it works out and it's best for them to meet during the day, then I think you should meet during the day. I also think I would pull it out of the church's hands. This is where I'd like to see individual groups of people. Like, if you've got moms who are working in the workforce but would like to do something like this after, like in the evening hours, then they should also do that, which was the recommendation. But it's just a weird thing to call out. Like, there's no reason to ask to have the whole thing bend to you. Just find a way to make it work with the people of which it makes most sense for it to work. And I think you get into this when you stop boxing in. Like, one of the things that we did, and again, this may be, in some ways it feels like it could be unique to a house church, but I actually am not sure that it has to be. But, like, we don't have any standing ministries in the house church. So, like, we always started from, hey, are we going to do a men's group? And my response was, I don't know. Are you? Hey, are we going to have a youth group? I don't know. Are you? Right? And frankly, if the ladies started doing something and then whoever was leading it didn't want to do it anymore, then we just wouldn't have one until God called someone else to go do that. And so, similar here, that, like, if it's on someone's heart and God has called them to say, hey, set up something for the working moms who are available in the evening, then you should do that. I'm wary of feeling like it is a church infrastructure responsibility to hold up a ministry when God has plenty of motivated people who can serve him in this way. And if he's calling them to do it, then it'll get taken care of. If he's not calling them to do it, I don't know that you got to force the matter.
Yeah, I think just be leery of things where you feel like they have to be official.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a stamp of approval or there's some kind of, like, it's blessed by whatever open Bible church you're going to, right? If you want to get together with other working moms, just do it.
Yeah.
And raise your kids and talk about Jesus. You want to get together with the dudes at 5 a.m. and yell at each other? Do it. Just do it. You don't have to go like, I need this sanctioned, or like, we need the sanctuary. Like, do it in your basement. Go to the coffee shop. I don't care. There's like 1,000 ways to get this done. And it seems like you're putting in, like, the onus is on the church to direct you how to live in community with each other. And, like, that is not an aim of the church. The church is there as a collective community as a whole. Your actions are what make up the community. Not the community doesn't make the actions. Your actions make the community.
Yeah. Yeah, and that goes back to the thing we initially started off with is it a problem? What was the number one?
The old people stuff.
Yeah. And we were talking about whether is this a problem that people just aren't going out and doing things on their own? And there was something about our church infrastructure that kind of puts them on a path and doesn't have them going out and serving. And I do think this is like a really good example of that. Is we wait, we've removed, I think, the natural intent or guide of people to go start something up, to feel something in their bones, to go try it out. We feel like it has to be a blessing. It's one of the I had a guy recently. I was at some sort of like homeschool sporting event, and he just started talking to me, and he's asking about being a pastor or whatever. And this guy like works with pastors, I think, for some sort of political purposes, of which I'm probably not who he's after. But like he was asking, I know it's tough being a pastor, and I thought, I don't know, I don't have that.
Yeah,
I'm not running into this problem but one of the reasons is that because there's all kinds of things of which, like, I've exempted myself from. Like, if people want to start a ministry, I don't I don't care. I'm not the giver outer of ministries. like I might, if you're asking me for help in discerning what you might say at such a thing, or like I mean, just randomly, not because I'm a pastor, but because of you just are interested in what I think. Okay, that's fine. But like, I don't bless or not bless ministries. That's not my job. We don't take in money here. I'm not burdened with having to be a banker. And so there's all kinds of things in which, like, the burdens of that often pastors are trying to balance and manage and carry, I don't really have. And so I'm like, I'm sure it is difficult for a lot of those folk, but I don't know. I just did not relate to the phrase. This is super hard. It comes with its burdens, of course, but not in the same way. Not in the same way. But all that being said is because I'm surrounded by a body of believers where if someone who is close to them goes to the hospital, I'm probably the third guy who knows. I'm not the first guy. They're probably going to call the person closest to them, and they're going to go to the hospital. I don't need the pastor's parking lot, the special spot. I probably won't be going. Like someone else in the community is doing that, and that's healthy. And we should be. That's the type of thing to encourage, and I don't think that's limited by church size.
I think the roundup is like, if you ever come across the phrase that says the church should be doing X, just take the church out of it and put your own name in there.
Yeah,
right. Like if you think that we should be having a homeless ministry, I should find you out there doing it by yourself way before I find you trying to get money and support, from the church budget. Right. Like if you cared about it, you'd be doing it. It's where words and actions kind of meet up. Right. If you want to start a food bank or feed the homeless or start a working moms ministry or whatever you decide that needs to happen, you should probably already be doing it before you're ready to start, coming after the church for not doing it.
Yep, agreed. Okay, just before we leave this, is there anything missing from the list where you would think, churches, we should give this up? I was surprised that the handshake time wasn't on here.
Ooh, yeah.
The stopping of the forced get to know your neighbor type of stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, agreed. I mean, how awkward would it be if you turned to someone you don't know and they're looking at you going, hi, and you don't want to shake their hand?
It's a very generational thing that finds that awkward, right?
Yeah.
Like that is a new thought as far as generations go, where you're like, every generation prior to yours would have just gone, it's a new person, no big deal.
Yeah.
Right? But like it's
I'm
a
like
very
that.
generational thought right now that like it's the same reason that texting is so prominent and phone calls are so scary.
Hey,
People would rather just text and not have to have a personal interaction, just like checking out at the gas station, or like all things that like give the younger generations, they're like, I would just rather avoid all that.
See, I don't understand the phone call situation. I'd gladly take a phone call. It doesn't matter from who.
So you're right. Like I'm saying generational things, and there are personal differences. Like there are like your personality would lean more towards that. But like in general, your generation does, like the handshake thing is like, nope, I'm not interested. Where like mine would just go, I can meet all kinds of people and just shake their hand,
Well, I think.
and it's not awkward.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, okay, how do I put this? People are like continuously changing. Like, crap.
Why did you nefariously whisper evolution into the microphone?
seemed right.
Evolution. But okay, so you know how like in the 80s, like kids would bike all around town. Kids would do.
Yes.
They'd
Got
go
it.
be out in the world.
80s biking.
Well, it's probably
She's thinking of Stranger Things. They bike everywhere.
okay, but it's a lot less like. I'm gonna use the word dangerous. Like, there's probably a lot more people who would try and steal a child biking around than there probably were in the 80s.
Oh, you think child bike theft
Well,
is up?
You think?
imagine it. No, not specifically bike theft.
She's saying
But
like
what
the
if, like-
world is changing, so we can't do the same things we used to.
See, you were saying like I'd gladly shake that man's hand. Well, what if some 60-year-old man came up to me and going, "Shake my hand"? I'd probably go,
That would
no.
be creepy.
I mean, at a church time, sure. I mean, that wouldn't bother me at all. At the quick trip, then maybe I'd be a little bit more like,
See?
that doesn't fit the situation you're in. Mm-hmm. But like at a church building, I don't think that would be an
Yeah.
issue.
I don't know. So I don't know that you have to get again. I think a lot of this gets me though because of the sizes of things. Like We have it. So again, smaller community house church. There's breaks between major sections of what it is that we're doing, and people are certainly talking and chatting around and telling stories and stuff. It's more so I feel like that it feels like, hey, go find the guy who happened to wander in here and make sure, like maybe the greeting in general.
That's what I'd get rid of.
Aggressive guy in the parking lot. 2 or 3 people sat outside. Like they don't. What feels welcoming. Feels like a sales pitch.
Yes.
And I think there is a uniqueness. This gets to a little bit to Ella's point. Like, there is a generational thing. And I remember having this conversation with a group of pastors that are a generation older than mine, as they were talking about sound systems and lights and fog and stuff. And I said, man, that shifted. Like, if the people who you are targeting don't like to be sold to. They don't like the sense that you're trying to manipulate them. And so, like, the lights might have been a thing, but they're not a thing anymore, for this generation. They don't like it.
Why does that feel like... You know when you go to a new church and they go, we have gift bags for you in the lobby? I feel like that's how they sucker you in. They're like, come closer.
I know,
Come
that
on, we'll
feels
give
so
you
wrong.
gifts and you can come back.
I mean, who's sold by like a cheap coffee mug? Had your church logo printed on it.
Probably
Who's like,
homeless
Hey.
Jeff over there.
Hey, our
we should be giving
generation is
homeless
very
Jeff the
gullible.
cup for free, right? If we cared about homeless Jeff, then we'd gone down to homeless Jeff's camp and just gave him a cup.
Well, what if it wasn't homeless Jeff? What if it was rich guy Patrick?
Rich
Yeah.
guy Patrick doesn't need your bag of doodads and wobbles.
Exactly.
wait.
See, so they're like, but I feel like that's how you would sucker in someone. What if I wanted a free mug? Just wow, I can add to the collection of mugs.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Actually, and this is this real think piece from a church perspective. If someone walked into your place, what do you want them to take away from whatever it is that you gave them? That you had budget for plastic cups, travel mugs, like to go, oh wow, that church is cool. They gave away their own special blend of brew and a mug to go with it. Or hey, they have all these events going on. If I went to a church and I could walk away from being there one time and go, holy cats, these people are about the work of Jesus. That if I could walk away from that, that's a church I'm going to come back to, because that's the thing I want. I want to be involved in that. To Mike's point, like I don't really need more mugs.
Think how weird it would be if we did this at a house church. You walked into my house, you ate breakfast, we sit and listen to the sermon, we worshiped together, we prayed, and it was awesome. And then on the way out, you said, "Hey man, can I have one of your mugs?" And I give
take
you
a cup from your place.
I give you my coffee mug out of my cupboard, and you're like, I guess, you know.
Would it be like a party favor?
Okay, Dad,
Weird.
Okay, yeah.
I have something I want to be on that list.
Okay.
I don't like fancy worship.
What do you mean? How do you?
Like the
how do you think
fog
fancy?
And the...
No, that's the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fun is good. Jesus is fun. But,
Evolution.
Jesus.
no,
Evolution.
like, I don't... It makes it... I feel like it distracts you from the real point of worship.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
I don't like it, personally.
Yeah, I think it depends. It depends.
At a thing where it's about that, like the Ignite Youth Leadership Conference. That is about a big group of worship where you're supposed to get excited. You're supposed to get, like, the Rent Collective concerts. That's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it's meant to be. But if you're like the church in Grimes,
I'm gonna get a fog machine
Like,
for our church.
Okay, you don't have
not
to
the
call out
church in,
people.
not the church in Grimes specifically. They don't do that. But I'm just naming a church.
Yeah.
Like a big church like that has a lot of people. Like, I feel like sometimes they overdo it a little and kind of make it feel more like a performance than an act of worship.
More
And I don't like it.
pyrotechnics.
Now, do you feel like if I don't know how to ask this. Do you feel like you've come to that conclusion on your own, or have
Yes.
you heard people say things about that kind of thing?
People who are saying that agree with me. I said it first.
I coined it.
Okay. I don't.
Fine.
It's weird. I think it catches me in moments. Like there are sometimes like very large worship where the amplification and stuff is super practical.
And you can't hear
Like you
yourself.
have to do it for
Yeah.
people to hear this person. Like that feels okay with me. And I frankly, like if a guy loves Jesus and is gonna love Jesus playing a synthesizer, like I don't know why I would care about that.
No, that's fine. I don't care when people are like getting into it with the music and stuff. That's fine. I don't like it when it seems like they're acting.
Okay.
Oh,
Like
fake
when it
worship.
seems like fake worship. Like
Okay.
when it seems like they're like, when the guitar guy's really getting into it, jumping up and down. He is not that excited.
So
He's doing the white snake.
So
when
they
he's on his knees, like no, that's
so
not
they want
right.
to look cool. They just don't want. How do I put? Yeah, they just want to look cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're afraid of that.
Okay,
I don't like it.
Okay, so regardless of the amplification, like either way, fog's manipulative. Generally speaking.
What do you mean by that? Is Fog coming up to you and going, "Hey, I bet you can't eat that donut over there"? Fog's manipulative.
Meaning, like there's no like that is implicitly a show that is trying to get you to feel something.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the difference in that though than taking 30 seconds of big deep breaths before you pray?
What?
You know what I'm saying? Like
So setting the scene is what you're saying.
yeah, right. Like, but
Oh.
like you read a lot of devotionals or like prayer apps or whatever. Like they'll have you take big deep breaths, slow yourself down. You know, get your scattered senses focused on a thing.
I feel like
and so it is trying to help you get into a space or an atmosphere.
Yeah, it feels like
I actually don't like those either.
It feels like an imposter of the thing.
I feel like
Whereas
that's
the-
just trying to get the vibe.
The breath and the focus is the thing. Some of that stuff feels like it's trying to bypass the physical things that you do to otherwise engage or be part of worship or something like that. And just basically convince my senses about it. That's maybe what it feels like to me. Like
Okay.
it feels
I'm not
like
actually a
manipulation.
proponent of the fog either. I think it's dumb, but but here's the thing though is I really like big worship because
I do too.
like they have a great like it sounds good, it's pleasing to the ear, and like they have talented people singing
Yep.
and people playing like who are good at what they do, and as long as they're not phony about it,
Yeah.
they're not phoning it in.
Yeah.
Then it's awesome to be like
Yes.
surrounded by God's people, especially talented God's people that are helping me worship well, and like I can get lost in the whole thing.
See, I definitely agree with that. I think it can be super powerful and like very helpful for worshiping and whatever. But like you said, phony, fake. Like if it looks like they're trying to put on a show, I can't focus. I don't like it.
When
Like,
we
it
went
just-
we went to a different church last week. When we did that, I really got into the worshiping, and I was really enjoying it. I felt like I was talking to God. I was having a pretty good time. It felt really nice to have like since we're a smaller church, it's not like we have a whole cage with drum set in it. We don't have that.
We want a cage drummer.
I love your cajon playing, but we need a drum set. But I do feel like that sometimes. I feel worried sometimes that people are gonna focus on wow, there's a bubble machine instead of God's over here. You can be praying and you can be worshiping.
Yeah. Okay. So it feels
Yeah.
like the key thing is our worship honest? Is it like are we not trying to manipulate you into something? We're inviting you into something that's real.
Yes.
And true, and we don't feel like we have to do anything outside of whatever the things that God has provided for us to be able to do that.
We don't want showy worship.
Okay.
We don't
That's
want
the-
showy worship.
Okay. So Layla would pull
Thing.
back the showy worship.
I'd pull back the bookstore.
There's a book.
What?
Oh
There's
yeah,
a
there was a
bookstore?
bookstore in the church we went to last week. There was like a bookstore cafe thing.
We
That's
sound like a
awesome.
bunch of hillbillies.
We do.
But I just you know, it's like I took the indoor plumbing out. People go in the outhouse like the Lord intended. That's not what I'm saying. But like it's just I find the whole thing distracting. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like take my recommendations and then go buy the book yourself.
Oh yeah, it feels like an enterprise. It actually goes back, and I think sometimes we overcrank on the literalness of this. But like we were just talking about Jesus overturning the stuff in the temple, and like the exchange of the money actually isn't a particular problem that's allowed. But it's the doing business in the temple is specifically the problem. Not doing that business. That business can be done, but it does not belong there. It's to be a house of prayer. And frankly, it was an indictment on the Jewish leadership. They would have recognized some of the stuff what Jesus was saying by Jeremiah 7 and Isaiah 56. So it's not. And so is it okay if you want to sell coffee at your church? Probably, but I think you should do it outside. It's just such a clarity of going, like, what are you here for? What are we doing in here? And anything that I don't like anything that smells like enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within the church building.
Like when they're selling like the shirts and the hats with like
I just
They're
don't.
selling church merch.
Yes.
Church merch.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
just
an
don't,
awesome name though.
I don't know about that. I don't like it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like it. Maybe it's. And here's the thing: I could just be old. I'm squirrely.
Yeah.
But like anything that sniffs. Here's the thing. Remember when I was the story I'm telling earlier about like pastoral duties. anything that someone has to spend their time doing, like, hey, you could be doing X or Y, and Y is manning the merch table at the church. Like, no. Manning the coffee shop. No. Give it away. Like, I don't know. That stuff.
I think the big caution is like you can be lulled into the false sense of that's hands and feet.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to take this offensively, but like you're not serving the kingdom of God by manning the bookstore at church on Sunday. You're just not, right? Like this is not sacrificial living.
Are you? But what if you're the one that's helping stack the donut tray?
Yeah, I think that's different.
Okay.
Are you giving out free donuts?
Yeah.
As a service to others?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay,
different.
I have one more thing to add to that list.
Okay, put it.
Okay, now hear me out. Sounds sketchy. The pews.
I don't like pews either.
The wooden, they're two pieces of wood. They're one here.
You're
one
saying they're uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
get some benches or like comfy cushion
a
benches.
pew is a bench.
A pew
benches.
But the pew doesn't have cushioning, and it's kind of just like flat bread. It's not comfortable.
What kind of Puritan shop did you go to?
Okay, now I understand some churches don't have big palooza. Wow, we got these cool fancy chairs. I get that.
Ella, we're just spoiled. We listen to the
It feels like you're talking
Sermon
about
on couches.
going to church in the prison. Like I've not been to a church with such uncomfortable pews.
I have.
Okay.
Stop saying pews like you're shooting a gun. Pews.
Wow.
How else? Wait, how are you saying? Wait,
Arlo,
Pew.
not Arlo. Dad.
Interesting.
He just goes.
This revolt against pews. I know where the pair of you have gone church for the last 20 years. And like,
we don't have pews.
Yeah, I don't understand. You're kicking back against things that you don't even experience.
I know. We're sorry. It's just we're spoiled
Well, the thing is,
with our couch living.
Since we have house church, we have couches and such. But even the floor is more comfortable than those pews, even if you don't have a rug.
I mean, the Lord gave you a cushion that you get to take anywhere.
I think this
Not the
falls
pews.
under the same
Couch
discussion as the Mother's Day, Father's Day conversation.
Yeah.
The whole thing don't have to run through you. Be grateful that you're here.
Some people like a firm seat.
Yeah.
All right. You're listening live from the path. What would you add to the list? 515-517-0085. That's the Bob Eisenhower live from the path complaint line. Call or text. One, maybe we got it wrong. Maybe you could say that out loud as opposed to complaining to your spouse about it. Two, maybe you want to add something to the list. You say, I really wish this could go so that we can all benefit from your... now, be cautious with your critiques here, but we'd love to hear from you and see what you got to say. Hit up the Live from the Path Bob Eisenhower complaint line, 515-517-0085. Okay, it is America's third fastest internet game show.
Is this love?
Is this love? The premise, we're gonna, Ella Foust is going to provide us with a scenario, and we have to decide whether this scenario represents love or not love.
Now, I would like to take a quick poll. Is Mike able to vote?
What did he help come up with
What
scenarios?
did Dad?
Of
Dad,
course
what'd
I
you do?
am.
Why
Why
Did
would
you
I be
help
able to
with
vote,
the,
Layla?
Did you help with the question?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I tried to, and she wasn't having it.
Good job.
No, he didn't. I said you're gonna be my backup in case this fails.
Did you use AI to generate any of these questions?
No, but I
You
did look it up on
should've.
Google.
Okay. all right.
I got nothing from Google.
Okay.
but
How many
Okay.
questions do we have?
One.
I have one so far.
Okay.
It was very under.
Maybe after Ella's, you can look up a few AI generated
Okay, well,
ones.
maybe we'll do the one because the show's running just a hair long already.
Oh,
Okay,
dear.
sorry.
Okay.
I
So,
apologize.
all right.
Okay,
let's-
I have one as well. I
Okay,
have
so
one.
we got two
Okay, you
total.
do yours, then I'll do
Oh,
mine.
Layla,
Perfect.
hey, Layla sniffed you out from a mile long. You do have one.
I have
See?
one. I was just trying to prepare in case it was.
It's because I told him earlier today. I said, "Can we do this love?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll think of examples." And I was like, "I was gonna offer to do it, but okay."
Scintillating. All right, go ahead. Tell me, hit me up with one. What's the scenario?
Oh dear. So,
It's a frequency, Kenneth.
Kenneth.
Never mind. Sorry.
Who's Kenneth?
I made a mistake.
Oh dear, this makes me scared. Wait, what was the premise of Is This Love again? I need to make sure I have the right example.
You told me I got this covered, Dad. Don't worry.
I said I needed to run
Shouldn't
it through
we
you.
prepare some, Ella?
Ella.
No, I'm better on the spot.
It's a scenario where it's someone like my boyfriend gave me flowers, but then sent me a text later with a broken heart. Is this love or something? I don't know. Like,
Okay, I've got that premise.
This is
yeah.
not love.
correct.
Okay. So a clown walks up to a lady and and offers her flowers. a married lady. Well, context.
She's married to the clown?
No,
Oh,
but
she's,
she's
married to
married.
not the clown, Dad.
Is,
Okay, got it.
is this love?
Well, no. Ella, you were not ready for this. You promised me you would
I
be
told
ready.
you I needed to understand the premise, and I thought, hey, Dad, can I run something by you? And you go, I'm going to be guessing too. And I was like, oh, no, I can't.
Okay, that is not love. Clown approaching a married woman.
Is he dressed as a clown?
This is not.
Is he in full costume?
Okay, well, the background
Okay.
was it was her birthday, and he was giving her happy birthday.
Okay.
flowers.
Oh.
I got one.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Okay.
Your boyfriend comes up to you,
Okay.
Oh, is this a
gives you
similar-
flowers. It's Valentine's Day. Gives you flowers, gives you chocolates, gives you cuddles, whatever.
Yeah.
Cuddles.
He's a great person.
Okay.
He seems like the perfect man for you.
Perfect man cuddles.
What?
But
Yeah.
he also,
Text?
when your best friend gets there,
Oh.
he sits next to her instead of you.
Uh-uh.
Is this love?
Okay. The
Scandalous.
answer is yes. It is love. He's sitting next to your best friend because they are in cahoots to give you a special day, to continue the special day that he's already started. So yes, I think this is love.
Wait,
Mike, your
is
thoughts?
this love question between the man and the best friend or the man and his girlfriend?
Man and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Mike,
Okay.
your opinion?
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Oh.
Dad, you can too.
So you're the only person that got the cuddles
Yes.
and the cards and the whatever.
Yes.
Is he sitting like there's a correct space between you and a non intimate relationship friend? Is he closer than he should be, or is he's the right distance?
He is. They are whispering.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's gonna be a surprise proposal.
Okay, I'm with Ben. This is love. Yeah, I think it's adding to the day, not taking away.
Okay. Ella?
Okay, I apologize. I'm gonna have to be like the bulldozer of love and caring and feelings right now. I do not believe this is love. Wait, hold on.
Please explain your answer.
Because hold on. I did not think this through. Okay, so
You didn't think of a reason. You knew that you were
No.
against it.
no, I knew. Okay, I thought of something wrong, but okay, if you think about it, if the man sits next to your best friend, right, then they're probably
What is
Ella,
it?
I can't. No one can hear you.
they're probably no.
What is
They're
this?
probably secretly seeing each other, but the thing is, this kind of ties along with that question, because if you don't sit by him, wait, hold on. If he doesn't sit by you, wait, crap. Okay.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that you think people in a close relationship have to sit by each other all the time?
No, but here's what I'm saying is, if he sat by his girlfriend, then, okay, she's gonna think, oh, why aren't they sitting next to each other? Is there something wrong with her? Is he judging her? But then the thing is, if he sits next to her, then she's gonna think, oh, nothing's happening right now.
Ella, I
There's
love
nothing-
your
there's
explanations,
no-
but we got to keep this moving. Is it love or not?
No.
Okay. Wait,
Fair
what?
enough.
Really?
No.
No?
Not love.
And yes and yes.
They're
Yeah,
secretly
Mike and I
having
are
love.
again on the romantic side. Ella says they're in cahoots for canoodling.
Okay. The answer is it is love.
It is love.
Ah,
Were they
wow.
planning?
They were planning a Valentine's party. He's taking her to the Cayman Islands, wherever that is.
No, they should go to the Arabian Peninsula.
And he will propose there, and they will live happily ever after with 2 dogs, a kid named
A kitten.
something. I don't know.
Olive.
Alistair.
No.
Alistair.
Allison. That's better. Allison Ray.
All right, Mike Fooster.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Are we
Is
all
it-
are we
it-
all offering one?
Yeah. No. I'm not in. Here.
I just
I
came
got
up with a good
one.
one.
Here we go. Mike Foose. Is this love?
It's 7:00 at night, and the woman has just gotten home from working all day.
Did you Google this?
He hasn't worked for 4 years and doesn't even want a job.
I don't like him.
He expects that she has dinner made every night. And he even judges her when the food is served late. Mm-hmm. Is this love?
No, they should get a divorce.
Oh.
Jeez, Layla, coming on strong.
Okay, I'll redo that. I'm not going yet. Dad, go ahead.
Are we going in a circle?
I'm not sure you could just pull it back. You like threw a stinky fish in the middle of the dining room. And
Reverse
acted
it.
like
You can
didn't
do
it. Okay. No. This is not love. This is not love. It's one thing to be like, maybe the wife does it anyway, because she likes you and you appreciate it, and that's great. And it's okay that if she made dinner for the 2 of them and their family every night for their entire lives, that's totally fine. if that's what she wanted, and again, he was appreciative. But if he's salty about it, if he's being real surly because it wasn't done, and he has an expectation, then I would say no, that's not love.
I agree with my father. It is not love. And if it is, they need to fix their relationship. Maybe go to a therapist or two. But
and then go through the big D, and I don't mean Dallas.
But I think if he is not appreciating her for working when he sits on his butt all day,
Tush.
all day.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Be cautious there. Remember, these are tricky. Is it possible? Let me give you a parabolic but real story. Do you guys know Madonna?
Yes.
I'm Madonna.
She's crazy.
And I wanna
That's LaDonna from Phineas and Ferb. No.
Lady Madonna. Dun, dun, dun. That's her.
Okay, that is
that's the
Lady
Beatles.
Madonna from the Beatles.
Okay,
She's the singer.
I'm actually
Okay,
glad you're not
she's the one
familiar.
who sang like a surgeon,
With her
but
body
the
of work.
original version.
Okay, yes, there we go. Okay, so she was a popular singer.
And she's like really inappropriate.
Okay, very good.
She wears crosses because she's cool.
All right, you guys.
Sorry.
She had a concert over the weekend and stopped her concert, or like in the middle of a song, started chastising a man who was sitting down. And he said, "What?" She said, "Why did you come to my concert? You're not going to get anything out of this sitting down." What is the possible problem with what she just
He's
said?
paralyzed.
Exactly. The man was in a wheelchair.
Oh, dear.
That is so sad.
And embarrassing. Now think about the scenario you've been presented. Is there any way that this man is in such a situation of which you're going to be like, you lazy loafer, but instead he's living his best life and doing the best he can.
No,
Hasn't
because
worked
if
in 4 years and doesn't even want a job.
Doesn't want a job.
no,
Wait,
no,
but isn't
because
Madonna,
if he
like,
was
60?
paralyzed, he would still appreciate his wife for what she does. And he
Well,
is
maybe
not,
he's a
so
really
he
mean
maybe
paralyzed.
She just got home at 7.
Just
he wants
got
dinner on,
yes.
ready to
no,
go.
I think he can make his own dinner, and if he can't, then he needs to find something.
If
good
he
to
makes
do
his own
with
dinner,
life.
it's going to be microwaved ramen.
That's better than nothing.
Okay, Ben, you're on This Is Not Love.
That's not love.
I agree.
Okay,
Not
Ella.
love.
I feel like this is the type of fella who says he wants to be a stay-at-home dad because from the beginning, because then you know that they're probably a sleaze and they kind of just sit on the floor watching TV with their
That
kid
is so
going,
true.
You want you
That is so true.
Imagine a man who you first met. You're like, what do you want your future daughter to be? I want to be a stay-at-home dad. Oh,
Okay, now hold on a minute. Hold on.
If it's a stay-at-home mom, she's a productive, hardworking mother. If it's a stay-at-home dad,
You sound like the chorus.
he's selling drugs on the side. Okay.
There's no way he doesn't have a side hustle. He's either selling mini ducks or drugs.
Probably both in a package.
Probably both. You get a free mini duck with two marijuana.
Okay, Mike. We've not done something right. We did. There's a repentance in here somewhere. Every stay-at-home dad is a sleaze with a side gig of illegal drug dealing
Well,
or
if you
miniature ducks.
But a stay-at-home mom is basically an angel,
Not always. They can be rough.
a rough angel, but not a drug-dealing sleaze like
just
the
saying.
dad.
I'm just saying, if a man starts out that way, if he started out by saying, I want to be a Harvard lawyer, but then he turns out that the woman is a hardworking woman who has the better job. So then he becomes the stay-at-home dad to watch the children.
That's acceptable. But
That's
if he
fine.
shows up as like, I got full plans to be a stay-at-home dad.
You know he's got the drugs in the back of the truck.
And Dust
He's
is
got-
called The Real Deal.
He's
Selling
got
today for $5.99.
he's got the beat-up van in the back of the parking lot.
Okay.
With the hole.
Okay.
So, Layla, you're a no. This is not love. Ben's this is not love.
Correct.
Ella, you're like this is not love. Possibly sleazy drug dealing van driver.
We're on the same side here.
Okay.
so
The
focus.
setup was she arrives home at 7 p.m. Been working all day. He hasn't worked all day. Hasn't worked in 4 years. Has got no intention of getting a job. But he does expect that dinner is ready every night, and he even judges when the food's late. Question: is this love?
No.
Yes, it is love.
Oh, come on!
He's a dog.
Oh, wow.
The woman married an animal?
Now, I didn't say they were married. I just said he. It's a dog. That's her
Oh
dog.
my gosh, that's so smart.
Yeah.
I
What if that dog is a
emphasized
sleaze?
Now
You
let's
never
do
know.
it again. Now that you know it's a dog, right? It's 7 o'clock. The woman's been working all day.
Gosh, dang
He hasn't worked for 4 years and doesn't even want a job. He expects that dinner is there every night, and he even gets judgy when the food is not on time.
Gosh,
That is a dog.
that is a good one, Mike. Better than
I
mine.
hate this game. This is capitalism.
We've been rused. All right, that is welcome to. Let's go with fourth fastest internet game show with that showing.
Let's go down to 10th. If you will.
But that's Is This Love? Hey, do you like? Hey, let's hit us up on the chat. Which is your favorite Live from the Path game? You like the? We'll throw in the advice column. You get advice column, Woker Toke, Secular Solomon, or Is This Love?
Oh, I love advice column.
If you're old school, I'll give you Deuteronomy Dan as a potential option.
Oh dear.
Or what was the non-biblical signs?
Non-biblical signs of the apocalypse. Yeah. Okay, that one we can still do.
Yeah.
I'll work on some of that for next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Apocalypse.
All right. Let's give Mike. Off. I think we're gonna. Your topic
We'll
needed
do it
some
next
more
week.
focus, so let's do it next week.
Okay.
Oh,
Here we
wait,
go.
I'm out next week.
Are you?
We'll have to do it the week after, or you guys can cover it while I'm gone.
Sorry we took so much time talking about that guy and his drug dealing.
Well, you never know. Maybe the dog has the mini ducks in his doghouse. And he's a dirty little traitor.
Dogs don't handle money, Ella.
You guys are interesting.
It's kibble.
At the least. All right,
Maybe
here we
he
go.
doesn't have thumbs. But
Ready?
he might.
Dear Live from the Path. On paper, I'm an accomplished woman. I have a doctorate in educational leadership and had a 36-year career in education, mostly as a school administrator. I am financially stable and I have many friends. I also have an overwhelming sense of loneliness, and this is where my issues lie. I was well accepted when I lived in the North, but since moving to Florida, I've had trouble breaking into volunteerism. Really?
I thought you were going to stop
sorry,
at
what
breaking
is that?
in. I was very confused.
Becoming a volunteer.
Oh.
It took 5 years before I was accepted for a volunteer job in my community, and only because of a board member's intervention. I have been told there are no openings on certain committees until they hear my background from someone. I joined a philanthropy.
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 Say it again.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. My teeth and gums can't pull it out for some reason. Philanthropy group. It's embarrassing. Which costs me more than $1,000 a year, and as often as they ask for volunteers, I am never accepted. Recently, there was a social event sponsored by this group. I was not invited. I learned about it only when someone offered me a ride. When I asked my doctor for the name of someone I could talk to, as the fault must lie within me, he was dismissive. I am sinking further into loneliness and don't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions?
Maybe the doctor doesn't
What'd you
like
ask your doctor for? I don't
I
understand.
don't. We're missing some very key pieces of information in this setup.
Are we calling the doctor like a therapist? Like, is
No.
the therapist a doctor, or is she talking to a doctor who's scared of an apple doctor?
Unknown.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to try to sum this up because I'm confused by this setup.
Me too.
Basically, it's a gal who had a very strong career. She did okay financially when she lived up north. She retired, moved down to Florida, and then is trying to get involved in volunteer things and be part of this group, and it's not happening for her. It's not clicking. And so her question is, now she's very lonely. She doesn't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions?
Okay,
Get involved in the church.
Okay, let's go to like serving donuts and being a greeter,
You know that they're
work in the
work in
library.
the bookstore?
No.
running the fog machine. So this seems very narrowly focused. It like you are saying as a converse example, you might say, "Boy, I'm having a hard time finding people to date," but you kept asking one guy
Yeah.
because like. There's a ton of organizations that accept volunteers. You seem hyper focused on a particular organization or group of like maybe it's the city. I don't know. It feels like it's government related, but like
Wait, did she say how many she's tried?
no,
So maybe she's tried a lot.
like there's some sort of background like waiting. But just think of the places the top things that come to my mind as to where I might volunteer. I'm pretty dang sure I could go talk to them tomorrow and be volunteering within the next few days. At some of these like food banks, homeless shelters, like
Places that don't say no.
yeah, right. They're always looking for people, and so like whatever this I don't know elite volunteerism philanthropy place you're trying to get yourself involved in, it feels like you have a very narrow thing, and so like if you're lonely and you want to go to help and you're having trouble helping, my first recommendation would is broaden your horizons. Like seriously, you could volunteer tomorrow. I'm pretty confident in it. And to Layla's point, I mean, just go hit up any church. Hey, I want to help. Is there anything I can help with around here? Go to the old folks' home.
Or even if you don't want to, like, if the church doesn't have spots for helping, like being in a community like that, they could help you find places.
yeah,
You
there might-
could also
Yeah.
put out like advertisements. Like if you made a poster like, Do you need help from Sherry? Call Sherry.
Like in the paper?
No, like on the side of like
Help us
like
share
a
posters.
like on the side of like a concrete wall or something. You wouldn't use a stapler.
That is so
Ella,
1950s.
I literally have no idea what's going to come out of your mouth half the time.
I'm
Personal
sorry.
advertisement posters for yourself
Well, you never know.
on brick walls only.
It's basically like a nannying service, except for
No, I get
volunteer.
it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's key number one. It's like this all seems we're missing some key details here, but I would say this seems very narrowly focused. I'm confident in Florida there are plenty of places to volunteer. You could go pick up garbage on the beaches. There's
Be
plenty of
careful
options.
what beaches you go to.
Yeah,
the
I
old
think-
folks take over.
I think she is the old folks.
The
But,
angry
like,
elderly.
Here's the thing: is like at the end of the day, I could try so hard in every aspect of my personality to like be in a community that I don't belong in. Right? She is just trying to make friends and be part of a group that just is not her community. Like they don't want her there. She doesn't want to be there. Like it's falling. It's failing. You need to find new people. That's it. You're trying to hang out with the wrong people.
There's the
Just saying-
church again.
I'm just saying again. You can put out another advertisement like "Join a club with Sherry," and it's not
Yeah.
that hard. Just pick out the advertisement.
It's not that hard. Just make yourself a poster.
Make yourself look
Get
real
some
cool by going.
Sharpies.
Secular says, are you affiliated with a religious institution in your community?
Oh.
If so, it
I was
might
right.
benefit you to talk with the clergy person. Man, you couldn't be
Clergy
older.
person?
And ask why you have been excluded from volunteering. Like he would know. Is he like the community gossip wheel that knows why people won't let you volunteer places? In most communities, there's a crying need for people to donate their time and help. If that conversation doesn't provide insight regarding the attitude toward new arrivals in town, it may be time to reconsider relocating to a more welcome city. One with the opportunities for folks who would like to share their time and talents.
I mean, this is
That seems fine, except seems a little excessive.
Why do they
to
say
move.
relocating like you're some kind of forest animal?
I mean, relocating also belongs to humans.
Yeah,
Moving
but
to a different city.
Is it more often saying, "Oh, Barbara relocated to North England," or "A squirrel relocated to the Northern Pines"?
Mike, this is because of where you live, I think.
Yeah.
Your kid has only a sense of the relocation of some sort of creature.
Go to
I
public
have a
school.
list on my phone called "Things Ella Insists On,"
No,
and it's interesting to the things that she goes. This is the deal.
listen, YouTube Shorts.
I have
never
that
lies.
same problem.
Okay, so
Wait, you have a list?
we've heard a lot of advice requests. The details in this are just I cannot get them together in my mind. Why did the person who's giving the advice say check with the church, like the church was the problem? And second, what does the doctor have to do with anything? Why is she talking to the doctor?
Well,
and why
again-
was he dismissive of the volunteering? I don't understand the parties.
he
Also,
probably
it's
thinks it's not good
$1,000
for her
a
health.
year to be part of the philanthropy group.
You got to pay to go volunteer somewhere.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. That sounds like a fish.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy.
This is wild.
Philanthropy.
Okay. Here we go. We got one more, and then we got to cut out of here.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Dear Life from the Path, I have known my husband for 10 years.
Oh, dang.
We have been married for 4.
Oh.
We love each other very much. But I did something that has caused him to no longer trust me, and he won't forgive me.
Oh, no.
I went to a pub while my husband was at a class. I told him I was going to go to the pub, and he was fine with it. We know everybody who works there pretty well. The problem is, a nice man sat down a seat away from me, and we started talking about all kinds of stuff. At the end of the evening, we exchanged phone numbers. He texted me a week later wanting to know if I could meet him for lunch. I said yes. Big mistake. But we didn't meet because I realized it would be wrong. My husband saw his text on my phone, and he is upset and angry.
Yep.
He hasn't spoken to me since. It's been almost a week. He said he can no longer trust me, and he won't accept my apologies or forgive me. What can I do?
Okay. The husband's being a bit of a jerk right now.
Wow.
Like,
What? Hold
I
on.
get it.
Hold on. Let's reframe the story. Why the man is in a class, his wife goes to a drinking establishment, whiles the night away with a friendly man. They agree to exchange phone numbers to extend the relationship. Dude follows up with her, asks to meet him and her, not him and the couple. She says yes. And the guy's being a jerk?
Okay. So she made a fault. She really did.
Fault.
But then after the smaller fault came along that led to this big road of oh no, she went, "Oh, that's wrong." And
Okay.
then she put her down. But then the husband, after seeing that, after about 4 years of marriage, I feel I'm not an expert. You should probably have enough trust based upon each other to not go looking through each other's phones. I'm just saying part of that.
Oh.
I agree with Ella, except I think the lady went too far with it. I mean, she definitely should have told her husband that she met this guy, told her husband that they exchanged numbers, because that's a very teenager thing to do. And, like, also, I think it could have gone somewhere that it shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And even, like, the notion that the husband thought that she didn't tell him, that breaks their trust, because they should have told each other immediately.
Okay.
Because that, even if nothing did happen, like, you know, nothing bad happened or anything, that still could have.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's a little childish of him not to speak to her for a whole week. And saying, I refuse your apology, I refuse your explanation, I'm done with this. That's a little childish.
Well, it didn't say that he said that.
It did.
It did not.
It did not.
What do you mean? It said he refuses my apologies and he hasn't spoken to me for
Okay,
at
but
least
it
a week.
didn't mean he talked like some sort of bedizened pirate.
Was I talking like a bedizened pirate?
Yes, that's why I mentioned it.
Okay, my bad.
All right, hold on. Let's level set here, okay? First point. The mark of trustworthiness in your marriage relationship is that your wife or your husband has full rights to look through your phone anytime they want to. That is not sketchy. That is completely reasonable.
I'm not saying it's sketchy. I'm just saying.
You for sure said it was sketchy.
No, I'm just saying that you should have enough trust built in each other.
Exactly, that's why you should be able to look through their phone.
Look at the phone anytime.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, I've taken this apparently a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Actual trust is I'm not worried about my wife ever looking at my phone. She can look at it anytime she wants to. There's nothing on there that's going to cause me to worry what she sees or what she doesn't see.
And if you are, you need to talk about that.
Because you're living
Because that's
honestly. And so, like, if you feel like you have to hide what's on your phone from anybody for that matter, not even just your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your parents or your sisters or whatever, if you feel like you have to hide what you're doing on your phone, you're doing wrong things on your phone. That's why you're ashamed of them. Right? So, like, that is not good living. 2, that's a huge breach of trust in a marriage. To go meet someone of the opposite sex in an intimate conversation and relationship those things are designed, and what built that trust in your relationship in the first place was you having those conversations with your spouse.
I didn't know it was an intimate conversation. I thought it was just a friendly chat.
I mean, they exchanged phone numbers at a club. What do you expect?
Yeah, so think of it this way: like it may feel casual, but like when you're the only two people talking, that's intimate. When if alcohol is present, which tends to make people not make the same
Open
decisions that they may.
A little doozy.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, like, generally speaking, I wouldn't meet one-on-one with a lady in a social environment. 2, I would never drink alcohol in that situation, of which may cause my mind not to be functioning and protecting in the way that I should in those types of situations. And so,
Layla, I mean, would you find it weird if your dad went out and had it's a date, right? Like, you're basically meeting a woman at a bar to drink and talk. If your dad went out on a date with another woman while being married to your mom,
would you find that odd?
I would go with you.
that's not an option.
Yeah.
It's an intimate
Yes,
dinner.
it's weird. It's wrong that he should
It
not
feels
do it.
gross.
Yeah.
You're like, no, those conversations and that situation
Yeah.
happened with my mom.
Yeah.
That's what a marriage is. That's what she broke.
Yeah.
That's what she broke.
Yeah.
It's a big deal what she broke.
And I think it would be different. Now, I sympathize actually with Ella's perspective. I do think a 4-year-old marriage is a baby marriage.
Yes.
Yeah, it is kind of.
It is a baby marriage, and so people are not acting hopefully the same way they would if this was a 15 or 20-year marriage. I actually think I would look upon a situation like this with kindness. I'm glad that she stopped it, but that he had to this is to Layla's point, that he had to find it. Like, that's still the breach of trust.
Yes, she should have told him immediately.
She didn't say, like, even if however many mistakes you make in your relationships, like if you're going to put a stop to it, like the thing that would have actually started to repair or cause the break not to be so bad was to go, hey, I need to tell you about something. I let something get too far. I wasn't guarding the right things, and you know, and there's probably some reality too. Hey, man, like you were gone. He made me feel special. We were talking about things in ways that we haven't talked for years. And I let something go a little farther than I should have. Not too far, but I wanted to tell you.
But it's different because if you tell him about it now, it's still breaking a little trust because you thought about doing the action, you thought about going to lunch with him. Mm-hmm. But it's not really breaking your bond of trust with each other quite as much because you came out and told him. He did not have to find out, act like it was a secret. You did not tell him. He found it on your phone. Yep. He shouldn't have had to do that. So if you tell him first, then it feels a lot better because you took the responsibility of coming up and telling him something that you did wrong, admitting that you were wrong, and asking him to forgive you.
I think it would still be a lot of work too, right? Because but here's the outcome difference: is the way that she did it, the man feels betrayed, right, and the trust is gone. If she would have told him, "Hey, I talked a long time with this guy. He made me feel this way. I'm not going to go to lunch with him, but like it was leading down a path. He's going to go, crap. I've let my marriage fall into this.
Yeah.
And I've got to do something. Like this is on me. He'll take it on him for the second way. On the first way, it's on you. Yeah. You've ruined the trust, and now you got a problem.
Yeah. So go ahead, Ella.
Okay. How do I put this? Okay. So. Okay, you both are married.
True.
Stop.
Right.
You guys have learned a lot of things through your marriage, right?
Sure. Yep.
Dad?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So, again, kind of what Ben was saying earlier. It's just that's 4 years is not a very long marriage. I should be talking to the mic. 4 years is not a very long marriage. Mm-hmm. It's not a really long time. So what if she made that mistake not knowing that was like a really big thing? Like, I mean, I didn't think that was a big thing. And sure, I'm not married. I've not been married. But I feel like what if she didn't know that was like a big thing that was like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that.
Well, do you feel like cheating is a big thing? Because it's a step to cheating, basically, with someone else.
Layla says it's the devil's dance.
To cheating?
I mean, it is the first step. If you were to cheat with someone secretly, that's how you would do it. That's how it would start.
Know that.
You would start. Well, yeah.
Is that not how it would start? You would meet someone at a club. You would text them. You would get to know them better.
What if you tripped into
You would eventually start going over to their house. Say you were out with a friend at a restaurant. That is how it works.
Layla, what experiences have you had in life that
a lot of YouTube videos.
I did. Okay. You sound like me.
Okay, YouTube is a problem. Okay.
Here's the thing that I want you to keep in mind. Because like sometimes, especially Christian relationships, will take a knock for this, right? But like, if you're trying to not drink soda, right? What's the best thing you can do when at home?
Not
drink water.
Don't put soda in your house.
You have no soda in the house. That's how you don't drink it. If it ain't there, you don't drink it. If it's a temptation for you to drink soda, if it was there, you don't put soda in your house. It's why alcoholics don't go to bars. If you want to remain a person that is no longer drinking, you don't go to places where you're going to drink, right? So like, but hold the same metaphor, right? This is the way that you protect your marriage. My marriage means so much to me that I will never have a dinner with a woman by myself, ever, for the rest of my life.
What about your mom?
Maybe my mom gets
your
a
grandmama.
Charlie. Maybe my mother. But more than likely, I'd probably take Ben and Chase with me. But like, do you get what I'm saying? Like actions and words, right? Like actions show what your heart really means. And so like, is it a problem? Am I automatically going to cheat on my wife just because I had a dinner with a woman? No, it's not automatic. Is there a chance of it?
Yes. Definitely.
What if it was a company dinner?
Yeah, then the company's there.
What? No, that's not what I mean.
But
what if I mean your 83-year-old boss wants to have a dinner with you to talk about sales prices and maybe promotion?
Yeah, no, not outside of work. No, my answer is no. And like, here's the thing: is some people will agree with this, and some people will strongly disagree. Like, that's not necessary. You're taking freedoms away from yourself. God is not calling you to that. But here's what I know: the things that I love, I protect. And I don't put. My goal is to never put myself in a situation where I could screw it up, or put myself in a situation where my wife would have to worry about it. Yeah, she doesn't deserve that either.
Yeah, I had lunch. I've had mostly female bosses. And so I could tell you, I don't know, within the last 7 years or something, I had lunch with a female boss of mine. She worked in a different city, and so she was down in our city, and we went out and lunch. But my wife knew about it. Like I told her, hey, I'm going out to lunch with my boss.
Yeah.
And it was lunch. It was in the middle of the day. They don't serve alcohol there. Like
I always get super suspicious when Dad talks about his female coworkers. I don't like it.
Layla doesn't like when there's one on the video screen.
It's the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That's what I-
So like I think there are it would be a far different thing for me if that happened and I didn't tell my wife. There would be no reason because why would I hide it from her? I'm just meeting my boss. And so like I think that you got to figure out where your right lines are. But to Layla's point, like everything is the first step. You got to know where your risks are at. You want to make wise decisions that don't put you in places where you can end up making decisions that you otherwise normally wouldn't make. So like basically put in boundaries when your mind is right. Don't expect your mind to otherwise protect you once your environment is changing in such a way.
And even if that's not alcohol, that could be the person you like are liking.
Yeah, they might just give you the
They
floaties.
could just what?
The
If we're-
floaties, the buzzies.
The tinglies.
Yeah.
Ew,
Tinglers.
what? If we're counting associating with the opposite gender as a flirt meet and greet,
Okay.
couldn't also passing someone on the subway and accidentally bumping their shoulder and saying sorry? Because
No.
it's just an interaction.
Unless you did it on purpose. That's
Okay.
weird.
Well, hold on. But are you saying it's the same thing to randomly bump into someone in the subway? So a roughly 1 to 2 second interaction is on the same level as talk with someone for hours in a bar and then agree to meet them for lunch, which is essentially another hour, 2 hours worth of talking. Same?
Okay, well now you take it out of context.
I got the same context, not the same.
Well, now you took it out
It's
of my
not the
head.
same.
Now it sounds stupid.
It's not the same. So okay, now let's where are we at here? Okay, we got to get moving. Let's focus on the husband for a second. So his marriage, there's no reason his marriage is over here. But this is something he's going to have to work through. I think it's okay. He's going to feel pouty for a bit. He was betrayed. To Mike's point, he's going to feel betrayed. He may not know what to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may not have words if something like that happened. You may be someone who just like, I don't know how to react to this. He's got conflicting feelings. He didn't have a reason to think that there was any trouble in his marriage, and now he finds out this happened.
Probably
and his
thinks
wife
it's
was
his fault.
And his wife wasn't honest with him. And so now he thinks, right, maybe he's failing as a husband. He feels crappy about that. Finds out that maybe he thinks his wife doesn't love him, and that she's not honest with him. And so this is a promise that these people made to say, we're going to be married forever. He's 4 years in, and now he's going, crap.
And then he may be doubting maybe she's done it before.
Oh, right. And how do
Like he doesn't know now because he can't trust her.
how do you get over that? That's right. So
This could lead down a road for the husband of bad things. Like if the husband was like, I'm doing a terrible job, I'm not loving my wife enough, I'm not doing great, then he gets sad. Sad leads to depression, and depression sometimes leads to a path of alcohol. And then the next thing you know,
He
he turns
becomes
into
an
the
alcoholic.
sleaze
Now
dad.
he's a stay-at-home dad.
No, he turns into the sleaze dad who's selling the
The
drugs.
worst of humanity.
It connects if you connect the right dots.
goodness. Okay. So I think from my perspective, if I'm talking to this man directly, I would say, okay, the time for you stonewalling has reached its end. I know you may not know how to go forward, but it's not okay to not listen to somebody. Forgiveness is a virtue, is a thing that Jesus calls us to. You are fortunate. If she took the active action to stop it, that's great. If she's being honest about that, so that is something you have to work with and recognize that she did do that. But you've got some stuff to rebuild, and so you need to be honest with her and say, "Look, I don't trust you." Based upon this interaction, if you would have told me, like I actually don't begrudge. Like no joke, my wife could come to me tomorrow and go, I went out and I came upon a fellow and we talked for a couple hours and we exchanged numbers.
With her messy bun and her sweatpants.
Be nice to your mother, for heaven's sakes.
I love her.
So
The thing was, your wife wouldn't go to a bar. She'd go to like a guava juice place.
I don't know if she loves guava juice. So anyway, but like this could happen, and like this is not a crazy we can work through this. Like I think it would be weird, but like we could totally get through it. But like there's stuff to work through there for him, and so I think that needs to be done. I think, frankly, if he was not willing to listen, she needs to write it down.
There probably needs to be expectations to be set, I guess, with the husband. Like if he doesn't set the expectations with her, she won't know what to do.
So
then they'll both feel
like
separated.
a PowerPoint presentation on what not to do. And
Another
what
poster.
You can do.
Another poster.
Another poster.
Now, yeah, just to make sure we're level setting here, like if their marriage allows that, like she goes to a bar while he's at a class and then strikes up a conversation, I think that's fine. That wasn't planned. That wasn't intentional. That wasn't deviance. That was, hey, I stroke up a conversation with somebody, blah 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 blah.
But like, them trading phone numbers was too far.
The trading phone numbers, that would be too far in my marriage. I would I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, why do you want to call this man again?
Yes. Yeah.
I give my phone number.
What
Yeah.
if you told your significant other, like, can I have this phone?
Some people are really okay with this. Like, it's not a problem. And and I think most marriages would say, look, can my marriage sustain, like, my wife having a friendship with someone of the opposite sex? I think yes. I think it definitely can. I think that the problem tends to be is like sometimes really close friendships start to mirror romantic and intimate relationships, and like there's certain things that we save for our most intimate relationships. And the thing that gets forgotten is like when you have 1 hour conversations or here and there with other people, they're getting to see you at your best, right? Like you're prepared to go. You only tell stories where you don't look like a terrible person, but like your spouse has seen you at your worst and your best. They've seen both, and they're still there and they still love you. And like the people that are you're having other intimate relationships with, they're only seeing a side of you. This is how people end up cheating, is right? Like you get in a relationship that's not your spouse, and you're like, this doesn't come with all the weight of the last 20 years. Well, the last 20 years had a lot of you being a turd too, which you're forgetting about and acting like it's everything's going to be rosy on the other side, and it never turns out that way.
Yeah.
There's just risk in it. It's just like Ben always talks about this when it comes to small church, big church. The same thing is true with relationships you're going to keep in and out of side of your marriage, right? There's just risks, and like there's no one size fits all way to do it. But like I would be a lot more careful if your marriage is as important as you think it is. Then you protect it, even if it seems a little bit extreme.
Yeah. I definitely don't think it's wrong, though, to have, like, friends of the opposite gender. As long as they're not, like, more than friends, I guess.
How can you tell?
Like,
How can you tell when when all of a sudden the relationship is not right?
You can tell, like, this is an example. My dad, whatever, has my mom's best friend's phone numbers, right? It's not because he is close friends with them. It's not because they are all planning something weird and creepy. It's because they need to communicate when they're picking me up from somebody's house, when they're, all that stuff. And that's not wrong. But I think, Mike, it is right to be cautious about that. I mean, obviously not in this situation, but like in other situations, if you have Is It Love? If you have your girlfriend's best friend's phone number, that might be a little suspicious, and you need to keep an eye on that and make sure it doesn't go too far.
Mm-hmm. Also, I was just thinking about this. So you know how some people in a relationship, like say a boy has a girlfriend and that girlfriend has a fellow best friend.
Sure.
Wouldn't you, like, if you were like dating for a long time, wouldn't you probably say that your boyfriend's your best friend?
You can have multiple best friends.
I know that's from
Yeah,
your
are there
point of view.
people who are married that like the wife's best friend is a dude? Yeah, I think there are. And for some reason, like whatever attraction that we would normally be worried about is not a concern with those two people. I think that's okay. I think you can't broad brush the whole thing, right? But like if you know that you are prone, like dudes are prone to being physically attracted to other women. Women are generally tend to be prone to feeling like known and seen and understood, and that's easily done by a man that's not your husband, right? And like if you can find that, and you can find other dudes to do that pretty easy. And so like you're equally susceptible to both things. You just have to it's just a radar thing. You keep an eye out for it. You go, this is getting to territory that I don't want to be in. I'm out.
It's like having a gaydar.
Okay. All right, we beat this one up pretty good.
dear.
What was
Sorry.
the secular advice?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Secular says, although your intentions may have been innocent, for your husband to have found out the planned lunch the way he did couldn't have been worse. Had you told him you met someone nice and had been invited to lunch, it might not have been made him angry. I don't blame him for feeling he may not be able to trust you. Remind him that you did not go to that lunch. Tell him you love him and ask what you need to do to earn back that trust. Ask if he would be willing to go to counseling with you. However, if you are unable to do that, accept that your marriage is toast.
Whoa.
Okay.
I took a hard turn.
Oh dear, yeah.
I don't think it's toast. Give him some time. He doesn't know how to do this. He's not had this happen to him before, and so like it's not like there's a playbook on how he should respond. I think if you get to the point of forgiveness, it should be complete forgiveness. He needs to not bring it up again. This doesn't need to sully the rest of your marriage. Like you're going to forgive cleanly, like God forgives people. It's hard to do, but that's why God's example exists. But I would say if you're having trouble talking about it, I know was saying this earlier, but like just start writing it down. Give him a chance to. Sometimes my wife and I argue best over text message because it gives us a chance to like form your thoughts, to read before you react, to not like misjudge people's body language and language tone. Sometimes we're just not great communicators live, and so text message gives us a chance to actually digest things. And so I'm not advocating for text messaging, but like if he won't listen to you face to face, just start writing your thoughts down. Give him a chance to read it if he wants to, and start rebuilding that relationship.
Also, Dad, read that back again.
Okay. The whole thing?
I'll tell you stop. No, just I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay, although your intentions may have been innocent, for your husband to have found out about the planned lunch the way he did couldn't have been worse. Had you told him you met someone nice and had been invited to lunch, it might not have made him angry.
Isn't that a lie?
It might not have.
I don't blame him for feeling he may not be able to trust you. Remind him. Keep going. Remind him that you did not go to that lunch.
Stop. I feel like that can be taken in two ways. Remind him that you didn't go to that lunch. That can be taken as, hey, just reminding you, I might have almost gone to that lunch, but I didn't because I love you. It can be taken like that, or it can be taken as, I still love you. I didn't go to that lunch because I knew it was wrong. It can be taken in two separate ways. It just depends on how you view it, as in, it can be pompous up rich person going, I only went to that. I didn't go to that lunch because I care about you. Ha, another point for me. Or it can be taken as I actually really care about you.
Yes. Yeah, so
and I love you, so I didn't go to that lunch.
Second option for sure.
Yeah.
Handle it that way.
Good.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We really do appreciate it. Let us know if you have any feedback on the show. 515-517-0085. Call or text the Live from the Path Bob Eisenhower complaint line. We'd love to hear from you, and I think we're going to cut you loose. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.
Woo.